Yeah. Hi everyone. This is slightly impromptu. I didn't mean to stream this, but I was like, whatever. It's fun. I like having fun. Hopefully you guys also have fun. Let's close KGS because that's good. So today's event is just, I guess, some training, but also some fun. I asked Jonas Welticke for like, yo, do you want to play a practice game? He was like, yeah. Oh, we could stream it. Like, we could stream it and stream the review, and that could be fun. However, I do want to make it kind of serious, so I'm kind of gonna be ignoring chat. Now, for the moment, we haven't actually started because I don't know. I'll send him a message like, yo, I'm ready, unpause when you want. Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, we can start. Once we start, I'll kind of be ignoring you guys. I'll probably read, like, I'll be aware of what is being said in chat, maybe, but I won't be addressing you guys. I'll be ignoring you. Um, and alerts will not make noises. They'll appear on screen, but yeah. So I'm gonna kind of be trying to take it seriously. Then we'll do a review, and then, you guys can have your say and roast us and etc. That's what you're here for. But yeah, you can also check the link of the game on OGS if you go !game link, or if you check out either one of our OGS accounts. So that's good. Oh, I see Jonas. Jonas's stream is also up. You can check his stream over at twitch.tv/Welticke. Um, yeah. I see. Yeah. So I should actually, like, I mean, you can go to my Discord server where I made a post where like his stuff is linked. But you could also just look him up playing Go. He's also streaming commentary, so you can see two commentaries. Um, yeah. So it's actually, let's just go ahead and look him up. Twitch.tv/Welticke. Yo, hello Elforo. Just about to start. Um, yeah, that's the link where my opponent will be doing his commentary. Yeah. Oh, game started. Nice. Uh, GLHF. Yeah. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah. So a little bit of background on my opponent, and I'll explain why I played Tengen first move also. Because it's a curious first move to play, also because I'm not a particularly crazy player. In the opening anyway. So Jonas Welticke is, he's been 6-on for a long time. He's been German champion multiple times. We studied together in China 5 years ago, and we're friends. We've been friends for a long time. He's sort of an unorthodox player. Yeah, he's relatively aggressive. I would say he has his own ideas, and he doesn't really care about other people's ideas. And he thinks he plays his own way and etc. And that causes a lot of disdain for him in the Go community. But then he beats people, so he's a good. In my opinion, he's really healthy for the ecosystem of European Go because he reminds us we don't understand Go as well as we do. So like when we went, we just played a real life tournament, the Dutch Open in The Hague, and he took first place. I mean, I took second place, so I'm not too unhappy. But the dude crushed everyone. He 6-0'd. He beat Lucas Podpera, he beat me, he beat Rob van Zijs 7-dan. So he's in shape right now. He's pretty strong. Probably a contender for the pro qualifications. So it should be a fun practice game. And he has entertaining commentary if you want to see his Twitch stream as well. Let's see. So now that I've given a bit of background on the opponent, let's focus. So the reason I play Tengen, by the way, is that Jonas Welticke really, really likes Mirror Go as white. He just mirrors the opponent. And then you have to break the mirror somehow, like by finding a way to make Tengen a good move, or by making two ladders that go towards the center of the board, or like you play Tengen and that kills one ladder while saving the other. There's all of this crazy stuff that you can do, and I don't do any of that. I just play Tengen first move. I haven't played anything but Tengen first move against Jonas as black for years. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, that's that's sort of the explanation behind K10. And I mean, it's a small concession. I think probably AI thinks, I mean, not that AI's opinion is super important for this, but K10 probably drops a couple of points. If it's even that much, and it's just a move that, I mean, often works with my style anyway, so I don't mind it. Yeah. So here, my opponent's considering. I think it's. I remember a really long time ago, and by a really long time ago, I mean 2 years ago, in the European Pro Championship, Artem Kachanovsky 2P, he was thinking about moves like C17. Like he was playing C17 a lot, which is AI approved, but I don't like it because it's really low. Like you get black pushes on the fourth line, well, fifth line. That's sort of good. So yeah, I'll just play here. The Tengen stone looks a bit abstract now, but I mean, yeah, stones are always useful. That's how they roll. So I'm not too concerned. I always think about whether I should play D11 instead of B16. And the issue with that is that eventually white kicks. Maybe B15. But it feels like black gets a little bit. Is it over concentrated, the word? I'm not sure. It's actually okay to just play like D11 or D10, but I like the slide at B16. It's But it's hard for me to articulate why, actually. Both are fine. You could play D11 also. Maybe one of the reasons people like B16 against this white structure where you have DE and F16 is that you can sort of fantasize that you can attack it. Like you can play J16 and then C17 and you can pretend. Yeah. You can't do anything else. You're basically pretending, but you can pretend. Okay, let's just answer. At some point I'll go get some water because I'm quite thirsty. Talking doesn't help, yeah. I think back when I played Tengen, so I played a little bit of Tengen back in the day, and I'd get sort of anxious about making the Tengen look like it works with something. Like part of a Moyo, part of a... Now I'm not in such a hurry. Tengen's just a move. It's a stone on the board. It'll become useful eventually. So... Seriously, I guess Tengen's more and more powerful the smaller the board gets, I suppose. Which is why it's sort of valued on 9x9. But still, I think modern AI don't play Tengen. They play like 5-4. The only time 5-4 is useful. Oh wait, he plays this Joseki. I love this Joseki for black. Wait, oh man, he's gonna give this to me, wow. That's really nice of him. So, I mean, he knows I like this Joseki. It's just, yeah. So this Joseki, it's locally, like, I have a friend who's 6-dan EGF, like me, and he was like, this Joseki's considered slightly worse for black. And I'm like, what? And like, what? This is the Joseki, it's just a Joseki. Like, what's wrong with it? And I think it drops like 0.1, 0.2 points in AI. I like it for black. I really like it for black, actually. So what I enjoy about this Joseki is that after white plays d3, e4, d2, and white takes the corner, black's play is usually very dynamic on the outside of the board. Like, you usually get a lot of, like, you can Atari c7, d6, d7, white's group is sort of heavy, and or you could also just came at d8, and then, I don't know, I tend to enjoy these positions for black, because black gets a fair amount of control in the running fight. Of course, it is fair for white, because white gets the corner. The corner is nice. but black gets a lot of dynamic play. And I actually sort of like this with my Tengen, my C14 stone. It feels like everything's working together, so him taking the corner seems... I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just I wouldn't do it as white. Because I think it gives black a lot of control. I like control. I like being able to decide where the game goes, if that makes sense. So... And why is he thinking here? This is usually... I mean, there's one move here for white. You can't do anything else. So I'm slightly surprised. I mean, you could connect d6, right? And then after black c7, then you can play like d3, e4, d2. Like, you can make a center exchange or two, but ultimately the dynamic of the Joseki doesn't change. At some point white has to cut, black plays e4, and white goes down to d2. That's how it works. So I'm confused as to what he's thinking. Wait, is he like getting some tea or something? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I might actually go get a drink now. If he wants to think about this move. I've might as well use my time. Because especially the more I play competitively, the more I realize at the beginning of the game, you just don't want your clock to run down. You do random stuff, like random good stuff. Like, you play moves that are okay, but the time that you'd waste finding a slightly better move, yeah, it's you'd much rather save your time for something important like reading. I think most of the time spent reading you use on calculation. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go get some water. If he wants to think about this move, I'm glad to get the time advantage. Be right back. Oh, he played a move. How surprising. Oh, apparently he played a move right after I left, because he had 52 minutes before, also. He must have been thinking, wait, what's he doing? Why isn't he, like, playing? Because my move's really obvious here. Okay. Oh, and this is where... Oh man, there's a really funny trick move here. Do I play the funny trick move? It's really funny. You guys will love it. You guys will love it. There's this hidden move that I know exists. That's actually very good. And I'm debating whether I want to play it. I don't think Jonas knows about it. It's not a well-known move. And it's actually a good move. It's not just a trick move. It's like an actually decent move. So, on the other hand, actually, I don't like it here. So the move is e7. If black plays e7 and white connects at d6, black plays b7. And then I promise that white's captured. That's a dacat. That's a working net. And it's not particularly good for black because white has a lot of aji and sente moves, but it's captured. Now in this position, I don't particularly want to capture his stones because I'm strong in the area anyway. So I think the correct thing to do is just to play c7 and make white make a weak group rather than actually attempting to capture the stones. Capturing the stones relieves a burden off of white's shoulders in this position, as far as I can tell. And actually, I sort of disagree with him pulling out the stones. I wouldn't have done it if I were white. I would have done something else. Which one do I play? D8 or D7? I'm sort of in the mood for D8. Even though D7's historically a joseki I played a lot. Yeah, yeah, so when you play d7 and white jumps at f5 and you play f7, f6, g7, you're sort of making a big wall that's building something nice, but I don't really want to build with these stones. I'd rather focus on the left side. So I think probably d8's a slightly better move. The first time I saw this move was actually in Chen... Wait, it was Chen Yaoye versus who? I think it was Chen Yaoye versus Park Kyung-hwan in 2018, late 2018. I was watching a game between them for some international tournament, I forget which, and I saw this move, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And in that game, f5 was played, which is the move I play, but it's not the only move you can play. So I'm actually considering doing something else here. In fact, f5, what f5 does is that it threatens to go through and snap back. So when white plays d7, you need to connect c8, and then white escapes with h6. And the idea for black is that you get the move at c8, which really helps the stability of the left side group because white doesn't get to peep at b8 and take all your ice space anymore. I don't think that's important this game because I'm really strong on the left side anyway, and therefore I'm actually significantly more tempted to just add a move on the lower side without making these exchanges. So which move do I go for? I guess just this should be okay. And what I like about this position is that this group of his is sort of in no man's land. I mean, it'll settle. It's not like it's gonna die or anything, but it's not having fun, in my opinion. It's just, no. It's sort of in an area where black has a lot of stones, so I don't think it's necessarily a good idea for him to pull the stones out. It's okay. But I slightly prefer black's position now. Slightly. Okay, he jumps, which is expected. And I guess I can just play here, I guess, which looks kind of pleasant. Just extend. Just connect all my stones. And as some unenlightened people would say, and it makes him territory. But those people are unenlightened, so... Let's see. So I would expect white to play a move like J7 next. Because in my mind, it's sort of important if I play J7 and I connect my stones and his group doesn't know where to go. I'm sure he can Tanuki. Probably there's nothing wrong with Tanuki. But I think there's quite a lot of value in pulling the stones out that way. If I had to guess. It's even possible that I should have done that myself. Like, I should have played something like J7 instead of just playing D11. I'm not quite sure. I certainly don't mind my move. D11's a very nice move to play. Okay, he plays J6. I actually expected J7, because J7's usually a slightly more robust shape. This has some peeping issues, but it's okay. Let's... I guess now I just chill. Do I just chill by jumping, or do I just chill by just playing elsewhere altogether? I don't know. Actually, I'll jump. I was thinking of Tanuking, but I'll jump instead. Because, like this, I don't see White's next move. Like, if White jumps himself, I don't entirely like the shape, because later I'm going to play like J8 or something, which is annoying for White. I don't have to play it now, but I can play it eventually. But in retrospect, I think I really maybe should have gone for J7, K7 immediately. Even though it's a weird move, it connects my stones. I like connecting my stones. So that would have been an interesting idea. Like, people underestimate how important it is to just have connected stones. Like, shapes that are strong, that can make eye shape easily, and stones that are connected. Because when stones are connected, you don't need to make eyes for them. Like, if you have one group, you need to occupy your time making 2 eyes. If you have 6 groups, you have to make 12 eyes. That's harder. And, like, when groups are connected, they also share liberty. So there's all of these extra benefits, in my opinion, that are quite, juicy about having one, like, having connected stones. Because all their problems are in common, and you can solve them at the same time. Hmm. So I'm expecting L6, because otherwise black L6 is sort of powerful. Because then I connect my stones, and his group doesn't have... Yeah, okay. L6, and now... I think I'll Tanuki somewhere. Maybe J16? Is J16's wonky. I don't like J16. It's either gonna be here, or it's gonna be this attachment. And the more I think about it, I like this attachment, actually. This shape, I can try to question it, but that's for later, I think. So I could also consider... like G11. Because that pulls my group out and makes everything like alive. I don't know. I think I'll go for this attachment because the top side's sort of big. Like, I think the top side is reasonably big. Also because I want to play J16 anyway. Like, J16 in my mind is bigger than C17, and they're sort of Miyai, at least in terms of the safety of the white stones. Therefore, I want to get like J16 and then force white to play C17. And J16 is better if I already have a structure on the top right. So I think it's not unreasonable to go for that. The most usual answer to this black move is P16, O17, Q18, O16. Then what usually goes up, P15, and then black usually plays K16 on the top side. I don't think I'll play K16. I'll go one further. I'll actually play J16 in this particular position, I think. I'm not sure about that, but I think I will. The other answer that can be played is Q16, but there's a very human reason why people don't like Q16. So, if you play Q16, you basically made a bad exchange, sort of. Like, at least as far as white's concerned, because black P7, like, white Q16, you're adding water to an ocean, sort of. Like, white's already strong there, so this extra move gets you nothing. Conversely, Blackstone at P17, it's not extremely useful, but it's more useful than whatever white added. Hence, most people are somewhat reluctant to just play Q16, they play P16. And the idea of P16 is I want to grab a little bit more territory. and make my shape a little bit more efficient. So it's usual for white to answer that way. The other thing white could do is pincer n17, which exists. I'm not a fan of that move, but it exists. If he wants to try it. Okay, so he plays 017, and I'll play... Oh, he plays this one. Oh yeah, this is the old... Well, actually, this is the new Joseki. All the European professionals have been in love with this sequence recently. I'll jump is the usual move. Forgot about this. I mean, I don't mind it for black. I'm just forgot about it. Here. And here black has a couple of moves. And I think the most attractive one is probably M16. Go up. Yeah, let's do that. So the idea of this shape is that whichever side white cuts from, black gets a Ponuki, and that's fine. And this has been played a lot by the European professionals in the recent games. Most of the time, they play N16 for white instead of wedge. They don't like the push. And the push is, I guess, it's fine. So it doesn't matter that white played it. Hane. I guess I Hane. Probably. Do I Hane? I kind of have to. Yeah, let's Hane. I'm wondering if he's gonna cut or something crazy like that. I wouldn't put it past Jonas. The shape move is M14, but I wouldn't be surprised by some weird cut now. Cut's surprisingly okay here. Most of the time cut in this shape is terrible, but here it's fine. I'm just reading. I was just thinking that if he cuts L16, I could easily just push. I'll just push a bunch of times. Then Atari M14, or maybe not Atari M14, and then Hane Q18. And that should be okay for black. So what I'm expecting will happen is white plays M14, and then I think. And then I have some options, actually. I'm not quite sure what black should do in that position. After white just extends, which is probably the best move. Because if I play something like K16, which looks like it just fixes my shape nicely, then the M18 cut is more appealing for white because my Ponuki is getting sort of over-concentrated because I'm already strong. So after white plays M14, one tempting option is quite simply to Tanuki. I could seriously consider that, actually. The other thing I can consider is to Hane immediately, because that sort of resolves some of the tension. If he double Hanes, I get to connect, and then my shape is sort of fixed. And if he extends, then that's a slightly good exchange for me, and then maybe I can go back and fix all my shapes. So there's a couple of options. I might Tanuki. M14 and I Tanuki. Okay, so he extends. And yeah. Tanuki is tempting. I could also play Q18, like I said. And if I play Q18 and then he cuts, because then of course if he takes the 2 stones, then my Q18 stone will be useless. Then I can connect. I can change my mind. So And that's actually just fine for black, I think. So Tanuki's still sort of tempting. And if I'm not Tanukiing, then I think the only viable option is Hane, and in case white extends, do I push or do I play L18? Man, goes hard. Goes really hard. So R18 takes some of like the really delicious corner money territory, but it leaves a slightly annoying cutting point. But it's only slightly annoying. It's not really annoying. So the corner points are nice. That's why it's a difficult decision. But I also lose Sente, which means he gets to play on the lower right side. So if I take Sente and I play on the lower right side, and I think I'd probably just, I would most likely just play R6 in this position. But, or maybe I go further, maybe R10. Approved by Artem Katanovsky. And then he doesn't really have a good way to approach my shape on the top side. It's a surprisingly resilient shape. He can cut this way. I get a Ponuki, he extends, I jump K17. And then I might actually sacrifice the Ponuki, and that'll be fine. If he pushes enough times on the second line, that's gonna be okay for me. So actually, upon review, I mean, he can't really do anything to my shape. So Tanuki is like sort of makes sense. Now which Tanuki? I'm tempted to play R10. I'm also tempted to play R9 and R6. Like usually I just like my corner enclosures. I quite like corner enclosures. But that gives him a move on the side eventually, which is reasonable. Also, the more I think about this position, the more I think I will play high. I'd rather play high than low. Q10? Okay, I'm not that worried about any move of his if I just play this one. Let's play this one. I want to limit his potential on the right side. And a high stone also affects the center fight a little bit more, the J6 and L6 stones. So that's why I'm sort of, like, if I played something like R6, which was my first instinct, then Q7 is a nice shoulder hit point, which lets him get a lot of control. So that's sort of annoying. I didn't want to let that happen, I think. And usually when you play high stones like this, something like the approach at R9 is somewhat annoying. But in this case, I'm not annoyed because, like, this game is, in this particular game, the outer portion of the board is reasonably important because his group, his F8, F6, J6, L6 group, it's reasonably attackable. So not attackable, but let's say its status matters. We both have to look out for it. And my stone at K10, we also both have to look out for it. So, and also he has a really strong shape around M14 and M15. So he has lots of strong shapes, lots of interesting stuff in the center, which I sort of want to limit. So it's not the right side that's so important this game, and hence that's why I play Q8. Sorry, Q7 instead of something like R7. And now I guess he's trying to figure out what to do because he probably doesn't want to play like R9. It's not too bad, but it's a bit small at the moment, I think. And also, if I attach something like Q9, I'm affecting his group at F8. The direction of play-wise, R9 is not a big move, but it's also the only move on the right side that makes sense. That's why I played Q7. I don't see a local move for white that works well with the rest of the board. And then the other thing is, what does he do about the topside group? Well, I was analyzing everything he could do, and none of it looks like too much fun, right? Like, either way he cuts, I get my Ponuki, and if he goes down at Q18, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's big, but it's not, I'm not worried about it. It's just a big move that I can just Tenuki again, right? And then just all of these options, I don't mind them, whatever white does. If he cuts, I'll just Atari, push, and then Hane on the top side. So there's no option that really worries me in any sense. So, and I guess that's what's going through his mind. Like, he doesn't, I guess. If I were white, I'd struggle to find a move that I find particularly palatable. There's many moves that are fine, but like, what's a move that is good, right? That's the question. On the other hand, the right side is reasonably big. Like, if white just, imagine white passes, I'd be tempted to just play R10 now, because, like, I'm just